And we are officially live. How's it going, everybody? So, my name is Tony Lee, aka Sheckii. I am a digital media, social media marketing professional. Worked on brands like 20th Century Fox, Nintendo, Sweet Green, and many others. Want to introduce myself. Thank you if you're a returning subscriber looking at my stream, and I am very excited to have our guest. His name is Coach Ballgame, and I am going to count Coach in. Let me see if he's there. Coach, there you are. How's it going?
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Awesome,
Hello,
awesome. Wait,
hello.
hold on. I'm having some sound issues on my end. Give me 1 second.
Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? I know you can see me.
There you go. Now I hear you. Perfect.
There you go. Hi, buddy. It's good to see you. My name is James Lowe. I love Cinnamon Toast Crunch and wooden benches. Big fan of benches. I also love number 2 pencils and these things right here, baseballs. Big fan of the game of baseball. Love the smell of it. Love the look of it. Love the feel of it. But more than anything, I love playing golf with you. That's how we met, and that's why we're here. Love it. Love it, man. How are you doing? Sure. It's been nuts. Yeah, I basically had a decision to make. I can either lay down and sulk because I can't do my normal thing, which is go to baseball fields and coach kids and run camps and do lessons. I can sulk about that, or I can figure out how to use Instagram Live and YouTube Live and Facebook Live. So I decided with the latter. I turned this room kind of into a baseball studio. I've got my drum set, my leather bound books, and my stuffed sloth and my stuffed monkey back there. And I got the backyard here. I've been doing my PE classes back there. And yeah, I just got off with an Instagram Live with a guy in Texas who's a really good hitting instructor, played pro ball. And um, I've learned a ton. Like just talking to all of these baseball minds, everybody's at home, everybody's looking for something to do. So, the kids have been tuning in. We've also been doing trivia, baseball trivia for everybody that's so bummed out they can't be playing baseball or watching baseball. So we have these contests. And yeah, I know when normal life starts back and I do my regular gig, I'm going to have a whole bunch of virtual stuff going on top of it because it's so fun. And I mean, I've got pictures sent to me of these kids in Alberta and Missouri and Dominican Republic and Saudi Arabia. Coach Ballgame's getting pretty big in Canada for some reason. So there you go. And Ireland, and some of these people have never even heard of baseball. So the fact that I can bring this thing to their world for the first time, there's silver linings galore, but still nothing matches all the very tough things that have come from it. I just hope and pray that everybody from here on out stays healthy and safe, and we can get past all this.
I really appreciate you saying all that because, I know what you've been doing for the sport of baseball, and not only just for the sport of baseball, but especially for the youth. I would love for you to talk about kind of why you've been doing all this and like what the ultimate dream is, and share that story a little bit.
Yep. So I grew up in North Carolina, went to play college baseball at Brown University, and it was there that I really had an eye-opening experience in economics class when I was majoring in business econ, and I didn't want to go to class. I didn't want to listen to the professor. I was just not enjoying myself in a class for the first time in a while. And I don't know if it was a mentor that told me this or just kind of meandering through life, but um, from that moment till about age 28, I really just figured out what I love to do. So I took this like 10-year period and I tried playing drums in different bands. I tried auditioning for TV and film and theater. I tried writing. I tried improvisation. I tried coaching, waiting tables, all sorts of things that I kind of found entertaining and fun. And I came to the realization around the time I got married, and it was a nice shove from my wife, that I need to just make a living doing all the things I love to do in one place.
Love that.
And so I found out through my 20s while waiting tons of tables and playing a lot of golf that I loved coaching kids, love baseball, always have, love music, and I love entertaining. I love creating characters and entertaining. So I'm now able to marry all of those things into one job, which is coach Ballgame, and I can create content on the web. I can entertain kids, and God knows they need lots of entertaining, and that means things that rhyme, animal references, songs, characters, wardrobe changes, all of that good stuff. So I really dove headfirst into Coach Ballgame in 2013, and it's just grown. And a lot of it is definitely due to Mrs. Ballgame, my wife, for just basically saying, you are going to stop waiting tables. You're going to do this thing that you're really good at, or I'm leaving. And I said, okay, I don't want you to leave. So I did it. And now here we are. We've partnered up with Major League Baseball now 6 years in
Yep.
to coach Ballgame, and they've seen what I do, and they like it. They think it's going to get the next generation to love the game. So took a small step forward with them last summer, running camps at the All-Star Game and at the College World Series, and created some content for them. We had planned on having a busy summer with Major League Baseball this summer, but now all that's out the window because of the quarantine. But that relationship hopefully will grow big time. And I think the ultimate goal is for me to just be able to have my own show on whatever forum that may be. Maybe it is digital, maybe it's MLB Network, maybe it's Fox, who knows? But just a daily show where I can be the Jimmy Fallon of youth baseball, pretty much, and maybe that'll grow into youth sports. But obviously with YouTube and Instagram and Skype and Facebook and the digital world, it's such a platform. And for me, I stand for building character, creating a lot of fun and joy, and then building the skills of baseball in that order. And I think there's a lot of kids that could use that show or that forum. So we're hopeful that
Yeah.
as we just keep building, that'll be the end goal.
No, Coach. There's a couple things that in there that I think is just good things that people should know. Like you talked about taking a part in your life, a time period where you're figuring it out. And I think there's a huge misconception right now that you need to know what you are going to do for the rest of your life, like from middle school on. And I know that I'm part of the industry and social media that perpetuate some of that. But, I think it's so important that you're saying that you took a time period to figure out what you want. You tried everything, whatever you wanted to do, whatever you felt like, things that were interesting, took some leaps, and here you are at the end knowing exactly what you want to do and have the experiences. And in my opinion, because of those experiences, you are able to share something to your audience, your players, everyone you talk to, and it comes to the spirit. And I, 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 I can't say enough about that because I really truly feel like you have to do it.
Thank you, man. That's so nice of you to say. That's really thoughtful, and I appreciate that, brother, especially coming from the American team on the U.S. Ryder Cup. I'm team Europe, so we go against each other each year in an epic golf match with 24 buddies. But yeah, and the thing I wish for my two daughters is simply that, and I pray this every single night, that they find a job, they find a career path that they love going to. Like that, I've had jobs that I was just, oh, I got to go out the door and I got to do this thing. And I think it's one of the worst things you can do is just go down a path you don't enjoy. And I had friends at Brown that went to medical school, and while in medical school, they figured out they don't want to be a doctor, and they stopped, and a lot of people just don't have the guts, the confidence, just, yeah, the guts to do that kind of thing. And hey, I went to an Ivy League school.
Mm-hmm.
My parents put in a lot of hard work and money to get me into that school. And I'm 28 years old and I'm waiting tables, and there's nothing wrong with waiting tables.
Yeah.
It's one of the best jobs. I think everybody should do it at least for 6 months, just to kind of feel how it feels to wait on people, and people skills, just all sorts of great things that come out of waiting tables. Love it. But it wasn't enough to provide for the family. So, yeah, I did. I just kept doing things I loved for as long as I could until I figured out how I could do everything one. And yeah, it's such a blessing. I go to bed at night and I say to my wife, I love my job. I love it. It's really fun. And a huge part of it is the impact. Like I feel like I need to have an impact on the next generation. That fuels me. I thrive on it, actually. And so that fuels me up. And then I get to be a kid myself. I think kids really are attracted to grown-ups acting like kids and being silly. So that's a big part of my the way I engage them. And yeah, it's a super fun gig, but it took a lot of
Mm-hmm.
years
Yeah.
of figuring it out. So yeah, anybody out there that is afraid to wait it out, figure it out, nope, do it.
Absolutely.
I
100%.
hope you do. Yeah.
And that part is the next thing that I wanted to segue into, is because, someone coming from a marketing and advertising background, I look at MLB and look at their viewership and their average demo and compare it to the other major sports and kind of a lot of the trends. The one thing that I've found super interesting is that while all the concussion studies in NFL and those are going, and people in Pee Wee are saying maybe it's not right for my kids, I haven't seen a proportional growth in literally that I thought that would have happened. Is one thing that I look at as a marketer, going, what is MLB doing or not doing? And the second part is that soccer, which is not a huge sport in the U.S. in comparison, has gone that bump that I thought baseball would, America's pastime. So I would love to kind of hear your thoughts on where that is, and then also kind of I feel like, from my opinion, you're one of the people on the front lines to try to get to the youth and get baseball. So I would just love to hear your thoughts just on that topic itself.
Absolutely. And it's one of the reasons that the guy who's really opened up every door for me with Major League Baseball, Joe Buck, who's the
Yeah.
voice of the game, he calls all the World Series and does Fox NFL games, called the Super Bowl this past year. He has went to many lengths, flying to New York, having meetings with the commissioner of baseball, simply about me having a job with MLB to do exactly what you are talking about, grow the game to the next generation. There's something very simple about taking a soccer ball, going to a patch of grass, and kicking it back and forth with your brother or your sister, or kicking it into a goal. There's soccer fields all over. There's soccer goals all over the place. But then you look at a baseball field and you see the dugout and you see the shape and it looks different. And then there's this hill in the middle and there's all these little white things that are in the dirt, and there's fence, and some fences are higher than others. And part of it's grass, part of it's dirt. There's bleachers, and then you get to the actual game of, wait, how many innings? You have to do it, throw a round ball, and it has to hit with a round object. How many balls is a walk? How many strikes is a strikeout? Who's the person with the mask on? It can be a lot for a kid, and so they just walk away. So that's where I came in and realized, after a few years of being a bad coach, I realized, wait, a lot of these kids don't even want to be here. They don't want to be at a baseball camp. They don't want to play this game. They need to be reeled in. And so I guess, complicated, just the nature of baseball is it can be complicated to the brand new viewer. If I can make it seem as simple, as fun, as inviting as possible, then I can grab that 4, 5, 6 year old, before they become too attached to a different sport. I feel like my bread and butter is maybe ages 6 through 10. That's when I really teach the skills, but build character and create this amount of joy that makes them think of a birthday party. Like when they're on a baseball field, they're actually at a birthday party. But I also want to be the person that introduces baseball to every kid.
Yeah.
And hopefully with MLB partnering up, I'll be able to go run coaches clinics in South Africa, where I can teach these moms and dads how to coach in an engaging way and teach the skills in a fun way. I can go to Massachusetts and run baseball camps and really just kind of spread this knowledge and this weird niche that I have of youth baseball coach,
Yeah.
kind of spread this knowledge to everybody else. So all these other moms and dads and coaches that some of them have never even played baseball, they can have these resources and use them. And every kid can go home and say, I think I have the fun coach. I've got the fun coach, and it's not all about winning and losing. So I think that's one big chunk of it.
Yeah.
The other chunk is just kind of the elitism that has seeped into baseball, the travel ball world of oh, you got to be really good. You got to have the best bat, the most expensive glove. And that just makes me nauseous, because that shouldn't be the narrative
Right.
that people think of when they think of baseball. The narrative that I think of is Roberto Clemente using a lemon and a stick, Albert Pujols using a lime, Pete Alonso, who just won the home run derby, using a piece of fruit in his driveway and hitting it with a broomstick. That's baseball, right? Where
Yeah.
you take some trash, and that's a base. You take a fruit, that's the ball, and you take a branch, and that's a bat, and that's it. Go play.
Mm-hmm.
And now, thanks to Instagram and YouTube, people are starting to see what I do and how I can grow the game. And I just had a couple of kids in Canada try out my class for the first time, because I do a PE class in the mornings, but I institute a lot of hand-eye coordination and baseball stuff. And I do an afternoon baseball class. And they've never played the game, but now they're loving it. They tune in, and a lot of it's just because I'm nuts and I make them laugh, but that reels them in. And then before you know it, they're talking about Jim Abbott, and they're talking about Mike Trout and Bryce Harper and Chris Bryant, and they have become baseball fans because of that. So, yeah, I think that's why you haven't seen that growth, is just we've been going about it the wrong way. And now Little League proper has called, and they want to team up and kind of institute what I've been doing for a while now, which is this sandlot, where
Yeah.
you just find an empty patch of grass, kids show up, and you play a ball game, and you give them all nicknames, and you just make the game seem inviting and fun and simple to do. So, yeah, that's why it hasn't seen the growth. But I think if we go about it the right way, and MLB is starting to move in that direction, they're starting to move into this. You know what? Let's not hold on so tightly to these old isms of elite baseball or anything like that. Open it up. Let people engage. Let these social media influencers show tape of Mike Trout hitting a home run without us taking it off of their YouTube because of a claim right. Like let they're starting to follow in the footsteps of NBA.
Yeah.
NBA that yeah, get it out there. Show the LeBron James dunk. Put your own commentary on there. Get it to your social media fans. So I think every social media influencer of baseball we all have to become one team, and it's starting to get there. We're all
Yeah.
Easton and Bombats and Warstick and John Boy and Barstool and every social media influencer that has millions of followers. We all have to work together to kind of make this movement happen, and it's starting to move that way. So yeah, man.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned John Boy because I've been watching his YouTube clips forever, and I know you've done something with him, but it's for a brand. Like a lot of my clients in previous times, right, especially on the entertainment side, some of them are like, "Well, we have our talent, like movie star talent that's in movies or shows. Why aren't we using them?" And some people are just narrow minded there, right? That's the only avenue. Influencers are, lack of a better word, second class, and we got first class kind of situation. We
Sure.
we we know that's not the way to think. And I love the examples that you gave because, like, John Boy, almost no offense to a lot of the baseball announcers I grew up hearing in the games. I love what he says. I love how he's recapping game. I love those little scenes in those way. Like he makes it interesting. And before I kind of like go into that, there's something that you mentioned that I think is definitely worth noting, which is and I'm not sure if you know this, but you're dreaming big about how you can impact baseball versus what I think a lot of people do is look at just small, tiny thing that they can do. And it's like that. But you're talking about, I want to be the first person that introduces baseball to kids. That's a dream that I don't think a lot of people have the creativity. And I definitely think that more people, especially during times like this, where some people might be out of jobs, it's time to start thinking big. And when you hear things like that, I love it because I worked for a mentor that once told me this. It's like he used the example: tell a 5-year-old to go draw trees and see what happens. You get trees in purple, you get trees in oranges, all sorts of colors and rainbows, and you see creativity. Ask that to a 12-year-old, you're gonna get a tree that's brown, that's green leaves, and that's it. And
Yeah.
it's I think this dreaming big thing is so understated. And when you were talking about South Africa and things like that, I really think people need to start dreaming big. Not just look at Southern reality saying, I only have 10 Instagram followers or I want to do this, but I can't. I love the fact that there's so many things you said that I want to go talk about in there. But the dreaming big and doing what you want, like, love it.
Yeah, and it really stems from just a passion that I have. Like I wouldn't dream that big about teaching cooking because I'm not passionate about
Yeah,
teaching
yeah.
cooking, and my wife knows I don't cook at all. I don't enjoy it. Same thing for cleaning. I'm just not a big fan of cleaning. I'm going to do it this weekend because I've promised to do something I don't enjoy doing for my wife for Mother's Day weekend.
There you
But yeah, the key to that big dream is really finding what you thrive on. And I do. I thrive on making kids fall in love with baseball. Like I need it. I gotta have it. And every time it happens, I'm just full of joy. So, yeah, once again, following in your passion, find your passion bucket and then follow that. Then you can dream as big as you want to. And yeah, now I want to be the guy starting the first ever Sandlot, in a back alley in India, or bringing the game to Belarus or Moscow and anywhere
throw a dart.
the
What
Aborigines.
happens?
Yeah, throw a dart and boom, go do it. So with MLB partnered up, and hopefully that goes a long way. With that, hey, the sky's the limit.
And I talked about some of the things why MLB hasn't grown, but they have done some interesting things that I'm pretty sure just haven't gotten a lot of press. Like this offseason, MLB had a lot of bad press, and I don't want to dwell on that, but talk about some of the good things that they are doing, and that makes you even more proud to work with them.
Yeah, well, the first thing is what I'm helping to coach is this play ball movement, this initiative which they just started a few years ago and it started with Rob Manfred, the new commissioner, to get more kids to love the game of baseball. And what they do is they set up these camps, and they're free, and they bring in a lot of Boys and Girls Club kids to come in, and they hire instructors like me to help run the camps. And it's just it's play ball. That's what we want kids to do, is just go play ball with whatever they can. They've also done RBI, which is getting into the inner cities, kids that can't afford a glove or afford a ball. And they give them resources, give them money, give them coaches, give the coaches or the parents in those communities some resources, building fields. They're building tons of fields, and they've had built partnerships with different companies that can make that happen. So, yeah, lots of bad rep, but again, you don't really hear about all the great stuff. And
Yeah, exactly.
they're making a move, and I think, it's not my place to kind of sit back anymore and see what they do. Like, now that I'm a partner with them, I want to help be a leader. I want to
Yeah.
help in any way I can, and come up with ideas and create. Like, if I can. I mean, I got a lot of confidence when I started going to different states and running these camps, and then these kids are thriving on it and can't wait for the next year when I go back. Like, I can do that all over the place. So I at this point, I'm on a mission, and
Yeah,
it's fun to be on a mission for something you're passionate about.
definitely. Well, Coach, listen, I love chatting with you. I thought you brought a lot of good angles. I'm glad that I grew up, I played catcher, and then they moved me to shortstop, and then all of a sudden I started not being able to hit well because I was so used to seeing the balls come all the time. And then I started crying in the dugout every single time I didn't get a hit. And I remember literally going, how much, and I love the practices. I can't, all the sports I've played, I think baseball practices are the most fun. And I loved it. And I love the fact that, that was my first sport, and I had to choose between golf and baseball when I was in high school, and I chose golf. But, you know, my first love was baseball. And it's sad that I know that if I talk to a lot of new kids, they're not that interested, but there's someone like you that's trying to make something that at least I grew up loving, right? And that has given me a lot of life skills from it. And then you're encouraging it to the next generation. And then you also doing all these great things on social media. That's also in my profession. Listen, Coach, I love what you're doing, and I really appreciate your time and chatting with me today.
Oh man, thanks for having me. This was super fun, and your golf swing, it tells me that you made the right decision going golf, man. You got that sweet swing, but
Yeah, I don't
yeah, and
over two two
anytime.
fifty.
Oh man, but it's a pure swing, folks. Wait till you watch this guy swing a golf club. It's great. Thanks for having me, man. Anytime, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, enjoy it. Enjoy Mother's Day. Hopefully, you get to not just clean all day, but also enjoy. And Coach, thank you, man.
Attaboy, you got it, man. Bye bye.
Talk soon.
Okie doke.